I knew this next honoree when I was here in the Valley back in the 90s, 93 to 99 or so. And boy, his dedication to his job was something fierce, something focused, and something really was a lesson to behold no matter what you were doing, if you were in the golf business or out. What Dick Hyland did around the Desert Mountain Golf Shop was truly a passion and a source of pride for him. He began in the Marion Golf Club, legendary Marion Golf Club, caddy yard, and so that's where his story is, outside of Philadelphia. But it wasn't really after he went down through Palm Coast of Florida, learned how to teach the game from the legendary future Valley resident Jim Flick. Then when Dick Hyland transferred out here, his whole life not only changed, but so did the Southwest section and golf here in the desert. He would develop the golf operations at the 6 golf course complex of Desert Mountain, as I mentioned, and turn that facility into something very special in the game. Join me in taking a look back at the legendary career and the mark made on this area by Dick Hyland.
Dick Hyland is a throwback. Like his brothers, he started as a caddy. How could he not, growing up 3 blocks from Marion Golf Club? That hooked him instantly, leading to a career that progressed through high school and college play, and as a professional has taken him first from Philadelphia Cricket Club in his native Pennsylvania, to Florida, then to Illinois, and finally, 3 decades ago, to the Valley.
I'll never forget when he called me one day and said, Tom, he at the time was it was a head pro or director of golf in Florida. He said, Tom, do you know Joe Black and Mark Kazire? And I said, well, yeah, I do. They're good guys. He said, well, they want me to go to a club and be the director of golf out in Arizona. And I said, well, what's the name of it? He said, Desert Mountain. And I said, where is it? And he said, well, it's northeast of Carefree, Arizona. I said, Dick, there's nothing northeast of Carefree but coyotes and cactus. But look what they built there and what he built there.
He called that move from posh Innisbrook near Tampa to Desert Mountain in Scottsdale the greatest opportunity of my life. Desert Mountain was under construction then. The first house hadn't been built and the first road hadn't been paved.
He was easy to meet, easy to talk to, very eager to do whatever he could to ensure that the project he was going to be involved with was the best it could be.
He worked out of a trailer at first, but Lyle Anderson's vision was undeniable, and Desert Mountain, with Dick the public face of the facility, grew from 1 to 6 Jack Nicklaus designed courses.
We brought him out and it was instant. I mean, I said, he's it, let's go. Because I've never seen anybody with the kind of enthusiasm that was so pure that Dick had about what he was doing, not only his previous job, the one he was holding, but also what he planned to do for us and how he wanted to go about it. So it turned out to be a 100% interview. Really good.
Hyland grew with the position as well, managing not only an ever busier facility, but mentoring his assistants so well that within 11 years, 26 of them had advanced to head professional or director of golf positions elsewhere.
Dick was very focused from day one. You know, once he decided being a PGA professional was in his cards, and we always talk about the 9 to 5 grind. Well, that's not even close to the grind he went through, from the 4 a.m. wake-up calls to finishing up at darkness, pretty much every night for, matter of fact, he's probably still doing it today.
Along the way, in 2001, Dick was selected as the National Merchandiser of the Year by the PGA of America. Dick moved up to general manager at Desert Mountain and became overseer of all the Lyle Anderson properties. In his spare time, Dick combined with TaylorMade Golf CEO Mark King to start the TaylorMade Golf Advisory Board in 2000. It recognizes PGA professionals, instructors, players, and merchandisers around the country. He also found time to play a little, putting together a collection of top 10s in the Southwest PGA Championship. All this good work has not gone unnoticed. Dick has twice been named the Southwest PGA Golf Professional of the Year and earned the 1996 Bill Strasbaugh Award for his commitment towards mentoring others within the association. He was honored by the Arizona Golf Association with the 2012 Updegraff Award and was inducted into their Arizona Golf Hall of Fame in 2016. Always, his focus was on people. It remains so today as the boss of the country club at DC Ranch, and his graduation list of former assistants has gone over 50.
Dick would bring them in as an assistant and they'd work their way up, and the next thing you know, they're the head professional at some club back in Minnesota or something, and Dick Dick was very proud of that. He should be.
The secret to his success? Dick explained it in 1997. I don't look at it like a job. I look at it as a career. I don't pay attention to the hours, just getting it done. For over 35 years, Dick Hyland has gotten it done.
Above all, Dick Hyland I count as one of my close personal friends.
His ultimate goal was to become the best in this profession as he could be. And here we are today in the Southwest PGA Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So I think he's accomplished that.
I couldn't be more proud when he was named Southwest PGA Pro of the Year a couple of years ago. I thought that was it, but this induction into the Hall of Fame is a culmination of one of the finest golf pros that I've ever had the pleasure to be associated with.
I figured this might be a difficult interview. I know you best of all the honorees, and I know how humble you are, but I also know your accomplishments as well. One thing you hate doing is talking about yourself and accomplishments, but I'm going to try and drag some of it out of you. Let's go all the way back to Marion and the caddy yard. Mm-hmm. At what point did you think or know that being a PGA professional was something that would be your career?
Well, certainly when I started in the caddy yard, I was 12, so I had no idea what was next, right? But I developed a passion for the game pretty early on. Most of the kids in the neighborhood would go to Marion or one of the local clubs and start to loop it, and I just liked the whole atmosphere and everything about the game of golf. And probably when I was a junior in college, I caddied for this Tom Wilcox. And Tom said, "What are you going to do after college?" And I said, "I don't know, I'm not quite good enough, I'm not quite long enough to play the tour." And Tom said, "Well, why don't you consider the PGA?" And I said, "I'm not sure what's involved." And he said, "Well, there are certain PGA schools you got to go through." I said, "How fast can I get through there?" And he said, 3 years, that'll shock you. And I said, "Okay, I'll give it 3 years, and then what's up next?" And he said, "Well, you got to go down to Florida and work for this guy, Jay Overton. He's one of the toughest guys you can ever work for. He's as knowledgeable as anybody." I said, "Good, bring it on." So I went down to work with Jay in the winter times, and lo and behold, when I was 27, I got my first job, and it was a 54-hole job. And so off we went from there.
But you're bouncing from Hall of Fame venues, Marion, Philly Cricket Club, obviously working with Jay and Jim Flick down in Florida. And then an expansion team calls you up, haven't even broken ground. What made you think that Lyle Anderson, Joe Black, Mark Kazire, big names, but that their dream or that this wild thing out in the middle of nowhere was going to be a success?
Well, I had no idea, but let me tell you how it started. I have an older brother, and he was going through Tampa where I was on his way to Miami, and I hadn't seen him in years, and he stopped at our house, and we had dinner, and he said to me, "Hey, I just got a membership at this place called Desert Mountain." I said, "Where's that?" And he said, "Well, it's in Arizona." I said, "Where's that?" And so he said, they're looking for somebody for their golf, and at that time I was running a 54-hole golf property. And I said, "But throw my hat in the ring." And in any event, I was fortunate enough, I met with Mark. Jerry and I went to the PGA show in Orlando. I think it was 86, wasn't it, Mark? And then Mark said they had a lot of other candidates to talk to, and I said, "That's fine, I'm not going to leave what I have." Mm-hmm. And then the next day, Mark calls me and says, "Can you come out to Arizona?" And so I flew out to Arizona. I think it was on a Thursday or something like that. I was expecting to go back to Florida on Friday, and lo and behold, I think I went back the next Wednesday. So we really didn't know. I had no idea what Arizona was like. I certainly didn't have any idea of what Arizona golf was like. But I had heard about Lyle Anderson from Mark and Joe and this fellow, Don Padgett. Mm-hmm. And he was the visionary. He did Desert Highlands, and he wanted to build arguably the best of its kind in the world of golf in Desert Mountain. And I wanted to be a part of it, but I can tell you, I almost didn't get there. We were driving up Pima Road, and Don Padgett's driving me, and we get about 5 minutes from what was eventually Desert Mountain. He says, "Take a look up there." And I said, "Okay, what?" He said, "What do you see?" I said, "Well, I just left 80-degree weather, and I think I see snow." And he says, "That is snow." So I thought, oh my God. I called Jerry. I said, "Hey, it's 80 degrees where you are. It's snow up on the mountain. I'm not so sure about this." And so a couple days later, I'm driving down off the mountain, no lights, no paved roads, nothing. And I'm driving down, the only thing I have on my headlights. And I see these, I said, "Shoot, these are mini buffaloes going across this road." So I'm thinking, I gotta get out of here. So I drive down there and I say, "Jerry, I don't know what this place is all about. I almost wrecked with like 6 mini buffaloes." She said, "You dummy, they're javelinas." So in any event, we had a long career with Lyle. It was great.
Certainly have had a long career as a PGA professional, a distinguished career. You've heard so many of those awards. That's just a portion of them. Where do you rank the 2001 National Award, the National PGA Merchandiser of the Year?
Right, in 2001, we did win the National Merchandiser of the Year award, but it wasn't about me, David. It was about the team that we compiled. And
I told you.
I was just the recipient of the award. Janelle Bergstrom, who is here tonight, she's been with me for 20 years doing the retail end. And at the time, I was doing most of it. And we were well over $4 million in sales. And Lyle said to me, you can't do it all, you got to get some help. And so that's when we went out and got Janelle and some other gals to help us build this program. And the PGA contacted us and said, we'd like you to apply for this award. And it was based on financials, and it was based on presentations and appearances and services. And when it was all said and done, we flew down to Florida, and we were very, very lucky to win this award.
So you were lucky, and it was basically the team, it wasn't you. Who put that team together?
Yeah, I'm like Belichick. I just call the plays. I don't run them.
He's pretty good at what he does, man. Let's talk about this thing, which I saw on my table. Very, very interesting. Tell us about the quotes that are here, what they mean to you, and the one on the back.
Yeah, I put it on the table because I don't think that everybody will ever listen to what I say, but if I can leave this here and it means something to anybody. Obviously, my dad played a pretty important role in my life, and we were one game away from going to the Little League World Series when I was 12. And he gave me this one that said, press on, and I won't read through it, but I'd ask that you do that, and he just said that persistence and determination alone are omnipotent, and that stuck with me, and I have this on my bulletin board. I read it all the time, and then Tom Wilcox gave me the one on the other side when I first went to work with Tom, called The Indispensable Man, and if you read through that, that's why I grind it out every day. You just never know.
Everyone's dispensable to some degree.
Yep.
Now, when I first got to Desert Mountain and I was standing up there outside the Cochise clubhouse, I remember looking back into the ninth fairway, or green, and there was a ball about that far from the hole, and I figured someone had dropped it there or something, but it turned out you were coming up the ninth fairway. Heck of a player. We saw the 62, the course record there as far as Cochise is concerned. Any memorable rounds or regrets maybe that you didn't follow the competitive side of it more than the business side?
Oh, as I said to you, I wasn't quite good enough to play the tour, and I have a little slogan that when, if you can't make a living with your sticks, you better stick to what makes you a living. And so, I could play competitively at the club level. I went to a couple national club professional championships and whatnot. I've been fortunate to shoot a couple of nice scores. The 62, 10 under was my best, but probably my best effort was in a Players Series event here in Arizona. I set a course record one year, and then I broke that course record the next year in the same tournament.
Nice.
Yeah, that was fun.
We're going to hear the numbers?
Huh?
We're going to hear the numbers?
Well, I can tell you that I finished the last round with 6 straight birdies. Does that help?
I like the sound of that.
Yeah.
More important than the rounds, more important than any of the awards, are the lives that you've touched and changed by your mentorship. And we heard about the huge numbers of your assistants that very quickly went on to have head professional jobs where not only their lives were changed, but as everyone in this room knows, they could affect other people's lives as well. How gratifying are those numbers and that influence that you've had been to you?
Oh, very gratifying, but I can tell you that with all the people that we've placed throughout the industry, it gives me more places to play around the country. But really, before I say that, I had my mentors along the way, and they were very demanding and very tough, and they weren't necessarily people I look forward to working with, but people I look back on. And that's the same impression I'd like to give all of the assistants who come to work with me, and I use that word as opposed to for me. And I want more for them than they want for themselves in most cases. And we're just lucky and fortunate that they've all been prepared. They worked their way to these jobs. Most recently, Drew Darrow got a beautiful job at Pinnacle Peak Country Club, and he earned it every step of the way, and there were 200 applicants. And, for me, it's just very rewarding to see these young professionals, both guys and gals, go on to more improved opportunities in their career. It's really rewarding.
Well, you always know that the person who's moving into a job, if they got Dick Hyland on their resume, they certainly have done some terrific work, and they've gotten some terrific training. Now, you were quoted in the video there as saying you've never had a job, but a career. What did you mean by that?
I think that whatever you do in your life, you better be passionate about it, and it shouldn't feel like you have to go to a job every day. And I can tell you, as I'm looking at you, I've never felt like, oh my God, I got to go to work today. It's been a career path, and it's not over yet. And I don't know that it ever will be over, but that's what I mean by that. I've only had a career. I've never had a job.
Passion for your job. You've had passion also for your assistants that have gone on to do
Yeah.
so much in the game. You also have passion for those who've helped you along the way, like you mentioned, and those who were involved with you at this point. Do you have any? I know some folks from DC Ranch are here now tonight. Do you have anything else to say before the evening ends?
You know, the last 8 years of my career, I've been at the country club at DC Ranch. And I aligned with them when Paul Skelton, who passed away a few years ago, met me at the car wash one day, and he said, "Hey, pal, I need some help with golf at DC Ranch. Can you help us out?" And I went home and I talked to my wife, Jerry, and I said, you know, Paul's been a friend for 25 years. It's changed over to the membership. I'd like to go and help him out if I can. And, you know, our home was only 3.5 miles away, so we did it. But what I can tell you is of all the clubs that I've been to, and as you know, I traveled between Scotland through to Hawaii, and I traveled to fabulous places a wonderful way. But I can tell you as I sit here today that the membership at DC Ranch is as quality a membership as I've ever been around. They have more fun than any membership that I've ever been around. You can see how many people are here tonight. They're so supportive. You know, from Janet Penwell, who was the past president, she's here tonight. Ron Cruz, the entire board of directors is here tonight. We have our golf staff here tonight. We have club staff. Kyle Draper is the new COO and the GM, and there's not a more capable guy in this business and a more fun guy to work with. And so it's easy to go to work like that. You know what I mean?
I hear you, and you've gone from 54 holes to 108 holes, and now those folks you mentioned at DC Ranch get the opportunity, the focus of Dick Hyland Hall of Fame.
But I would also say this, I wouldn't be where I am today without my daughter Casey, her new husband Ryan. They have a 6-month-old baby boy, so they're probably going to have to get out of here in a couple of minutes. They've been watching the baby monitor the whole time they've been here. But most importantly, my wife Jerry of 35 years. She has pushed and tugged and towed and been an inspiration to me. And I can tell you a little cute story to end it up. So I get to Bardmore Country Club, and it's 54 holes, and it's like February 7th in 1984, I think it was. And we played like 450 rounds that day, and I go home, and I'm just sitting in the chair, and I'm looking at the ceiling like this. She says, "What's the matter with you?" I said, "Oh my God, what did I get myself into?" And she said, "This is what you said you always wanted, so let's go." And we never looked back.
Thankfully, you never look back. Thank you, Jerry, and the whole family for being supporting cast for one of the truly iconic members of this section and in the game of golf. And watch out for those javelinas.
Yeah, we will.
All right, thanks so much.